What is going on, guys? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're going to talk about something special. What happens if you accidentally break your fast? Did you maybe eat a jelly bean and thought, I don't think this is gonna do anything? Or maybe you were taking something like BCAAs and you thought to yourself, wait, this can't break my fast, can it? Oh snap, it did. Am I starting over? What can you expect if you accidentally break your fast? I'm gonna go ahead and break it down in this video. Stay tuned. Before we get into the topic, this video is brought to you by yours truly, Fledge Fitness and the Fledge Fitness Jump Rope. With the ergonomic design, aluminum handle, and swivel design, you can't go wrong with the Fledge Fitness Jump Rope. Only $16.50. If you haven't gotten yours yet, what are you waiting for? The link will be down in the description, or you can press the top right-hand corner. And of course, as always, guys, thank you for your support. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, so a lot of people have questions of what does or what doesn't break their fast. Is it just calorie based? Can artificial sweeteners do it? And then it drives them nuts because they can't actually focus on their entire regimen because they feel that there's this unknown. Have they broken their fast by accident? Have they not broken their fast? Are they getting the true benefits, the autophagy, the body fat burning, the partitioning of the calories to focus on body fat specifically? Are they getting all of these benefits that come with being in a fasted state? Are they removing themselves from that fasted state? And this has happened to a lot of people. They'll take BCAAs, for example, which are branched chain amino acids, which is essentially protein, and protein does elicit an insulin response. So are BCAAs resetting you back to zero? That's the primary question I think that I'm getting from people when they ask me this. Since it takes about 8 to 12 hours to get into that post-absorptive range, if they break their fast with something very low calorie, for example, like 10 or 20 calories or even up to 50 calories, are they resetting themselves back to zero? Now, just so that you understand how insulin secretion works, insulin in and of itself is a blood sugar regulating hormone. It works to lower the body's blood sugar. So when blood sugar rises because you're consuming something, it might be protein, it might be carbs. Usually carbs elicits the most response from your blood sugar. Your insulin then responds according to that so that it can go ahead and try to distribute that energy across the body through the bloodstream to the different parts of your body that require the energy. The liver, the brain, the organs, the muscle tissue, all of those places require that energy, that sugar, that glucose. So it's moving the glucose throughout the body. When there is no more glucose in the body, then insulin is no longer needed. When there's no more glucose coming into the body, blood sugar won't rise, insulin won't be needed because there's nothing to distribute. Think of it in that way. Now, understand that insulin initially spikes because it has to get to a certain level. You have a baseline, and from that baseline, insulin has to hit a certain level to quickly regulate the blood sugar in your body because it can be deadly. If it's too high for too long, that's deadly. If it's too low for too long, that's deadly. So your insulin has to act quickly. So because it acts quickly, what happens is the chart always looks like this, is a straight shot up and then a small climb down. So you have to understand that calories aren't the only metrics that you care about because the initial spike of the insulin is determined by how much blood sugar and glucose needs to be regulated. So if you look at the glycemic index, for example, if you're eating something that is higher in the glycemic index, that means that insulin secretion will be higher because there's more glucose coming into the body. But there are also other metrics as well. For example, a study that was done in 1988 by Polinsky and colleagues in the Journal of Clinical Investigation saw that people who are obese versus normal weight people are already at a higher baseline than normal weight people. And no matter if they eat the same amount of food, have a higher insulin spike, and it takes longer for them to get down to their baseline than for the normal weight people who have a shorter insulin spike and go down to their baseline faster. So the higher your insulin shoots, the slower it is going to fall, because it never shoots up and then shoots straight down. It'll always shoot up and then slowly come back down as it's moving the glucose throughout the body, as glucose is being removed from the body, completely being utilized for energy. All of that stuff keep your insulin kind of there. So if you eat something that has 1,000 calories, that's going to shoot your insulin up way higher than something that has 50 calories. So basically what this means is it's not going to reset you back to zero. Will it be a disruptor, or will it create an interruption? Yes, it will create an interruption. Obviously, you're no longer at your baseline level. Obviously, there's still insulin that's dropping in your system. It's not going to be as streamlined as someone who hasn't broken their fast at all, but there's still some elements there. A few key factors to know. Protein does excrete insulin, but not as much as carbohydrates, not by a long shot. Fat also secretes insulin, but very, very minimally, and it is the lowest of the 3 macronutrients that elicits an insulin response. So if you're eating something that is fats and it's a small amount of it, you're going to have a much smaller insulin spike, almost non-existent, and within maybe even a few minutes, you're gonna reduce that back to baseline. If it's protein, something like branched chain amino acids, if it's anything less than 30 calories, it's not gonna be much of an insulin response, and literally within 30 to 40 minutes, you can already be back to where you were. If it includes carbohydrates, it's a different story. It might take longer, maybe an hour or two, because it's high in glucose. Calories are an important element to the secretion of insulin, but also how much glucose content is in that particular thing that you ate or consumed. That also matters as well. So ultimately, if you want to know what would happen if I accidentally ate a little something here and there and I just didn't know, or I'm doing something or taking something that I'm not aware of. If it's a minimal amount of that thing, if it's a small amount, it's not going to reset you back to zero. You're still going to be in a better position than someone who eats an entire chocolate bar, for example. Should there be mass hysteria? Should you be super worried, like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I just took something, it's broken my fast. You don't have to be that scared of it. Yes, calories can break your fast. Yes, sugar can break your fast. Proteins, even fats can break your fast. Yes, because insulin will be secreted. But understand, you don't go back to zero. And how high the spike is actually matters a great deal. And if you eat a meal, then it will take 8 to 12 hours to deplete the glycogen stores. But if you don't eat an entire meal, you just have a little something that's 20, 30, 40 calories, it will not take nearly that much time to get you back to baseline. Things that you can look at is the insulin index of common foods, the glycemic index. These are things that can give you a general idea of what would happen if you take a bite of this or if you take a bite of that when you're fasting. Hopefully this controls the fear that comes from breaking your fast with minimal calories or minimal consumption of a certain item. It's not the end of the world. Of course, it isn't as good as just completely fasting straight through, as this will compound over time, but over time would mean months and years. The compounding element is so minimal that you might not even see the difference. Does it completely shut off things like autophagy and start you over? No, it's not a major resetting process. So basically try not to break your fast, but if you accidentally take in a calorie here or there, don't freak out. I hope this video has helped you guys, and of course, as always, I want to thank my patrons from my Patreon, and I'm gonna go ahead and put their names right up here. And of course, as always guys, I'll see you on Sunday for another FAQ. Peace.